You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310 and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Well, let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 3rd day of June, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds. That will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. It also gives you access to the chat box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. On the days you're out of the office or away from your desktop, not to worry, point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net/live. There you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. You just won't have access to the chat box. We also stream live during this show on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we stream live, but we archive each and every daily show there for your educational and viewing pleasure. So with that, let's open with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings, for your mercy, and for your grace. As we gather here in the harbor of your safety, we thank you for fellowship and family. We ask that you would strengthen us, restore us, inspire us with your love. God, we ask that you would fill us with your peace, so that as we journey onwards, we would pour out your love and grace to others. We ask that our souls would catch the wind of your Spirit, so that we would take your promises to all the earth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Well, happy Thursday.
Amen.
Give
Amen.
you the numbers.
Sorry, my mic wasn't on.
There you are.
Same.
Let me give you the numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets, the indices. Dow's up 29 points. Let me double check that. Yeah, make it 30. The Dow's up 30. NASDAQ down 118. S&P 500 down 9.5. The Russell 2000 down 26. Now the movers and shakers there, the NQ is down almost 1%. The Russell is down over 1%. And the only thing in the green is the Dow, barely, by 30 points. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 25 cents, trading 68.58 last. Gold down $39.40, trading 18.70.50 last. Silver down 85 cents, trading 27.34 last. Now, when the price of silver moves $1, that's equal to $5,000 if you're trading one large silver futures contract. Silver's volatile, margins are high. Gotta be careful. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 111 points. Shanghai fell 12. Hang Seng dropped 331, which is a little over 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 43, DAX up 29, the CAC down 13. That gives us a mixed day in Asia, a mixed day in the UK, and due to the Dow being just slightly in the green, it is a mixed radio Thursday here in the US of A. With that, we'll go to Michael and get a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. After that, I'll be back. We'll go over the logic alerts, the concierge trade alerts, and today's Thursday, so Dr. Tom will be joining us. Michael, I can see your charts. It's all yours.
Excellent. Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 3rd day of June, 2021. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at cfrn.net. On this homepage, just scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, and you'll be brought to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial, so make sure you click on that link. All right, recaps. Now, here we go. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 3rd day of June, 2021. We lost 16 ticks in crude today. We only had 2 trades, and they both stopped out. We made 15 in gold and 30 on the ES. Put us at plus $365 a contract this morning. Today it took 7 minutes and 1 trade to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $170 a contract, and we took a total of 13 trades. Okay, so on the day, we were up $365 a contract. On the month now, you're up $1,835 a contract. That's over 3 trading days, averaging $611 per contract per 2-hour trading day. All right, we've now gotten our goal on 104 out of 105 days so far this year. And that gives us $74,365 per contract. That's 1 contract, 2 hours per day. Okay, that's 1 contract over 3 markets, 2 hours per day, but no less, all the same. So let's get into the trades. We'll start out with crude because that was our worst market, and it was just really a mess today. It started out up here. It gave a big move down right here, right here. Now I didn't really like the trend, and I was hoping for a pullback. We didn't get the pullback until right here. Then it pulled back and it gave us a shorting opportunity. I took the short and I stopped out pretty much at the tick. And then it went down and did what it should have done. Turned around, started going up. I didn't like the trend again, so I didn't take this long trade here. I didn't take this short trade because it was choppy. I didn't take this long trade because it was choppy. And when it finally pulled back on this long trade, same thing, stopped me out. And then, well, it went back up to the break-even point anyway. But it got really choppy the rest of the day, and I didn't take any more trades. There was only one shorting opportunity toward the end of the morning session right here that I didn't get filled on. And then right there, it made a big move down. This is when the European markets closed. The US market started to come to life. Now, we had crude inventories come out right here at 11 o'clock. It was a big miss on crude inventories. Still made no effect whatsoever on the markets. We get all the way over here, and right now it's given a momentum long trade. But that was it on crude. We're minus 16 ticks on crude today. Okay, now the ES was a little more friendly. I am gonna back this out a little bit like that. Okay, and hang on, I'm gonna take some of these drawing objects off. That's what's making it scrunch up so much. There we go. Did you see that, Michael R? I took the drawing objects off, didn't it? And it made it work out a little better. All right, well, our first trade here on the ES was a break even. All right, the next trade was right here. We picked up 6 ticks on that one. The next one, we picked up 4 ticks to put us at plus 10. Then another 4 to put us at plus 14. Then 15 ticks to put us at plus 29. This one went right up to the number that I said it should go to. And then we didn't do anything else for a little while. We picked up 1 more tick over here to put us at plus 30. And then, I mean, the ES started to move in here, but we couldn't take a trade in here because it was going up into the week. It was going up into unbroken dynamic resistance. Then it went right up into this weekly trading zone. We couldn't do anything there. Then it was between zones. We couldn't do anything there. Then it went up above the zone. We didn't have anything allowing us to take a trade in here until right up here, and we missed that one. I put this number in. It didn't make it all the way up to that number, and it came back down right into the weekly trading zone. And this is all during the break. There was nothing you could do here during the break. So the ES was all during the first couple hours. All right. And now gold. Let's go back here just a little bit. And here we go with the gold. All right. So we started out, there was a shorting opportunity right in here. Would have been a momentum short. Went pretty good. I missed that one. I missed this big move down right here. It didn't give a trade setup. It was just kept going down and down and down. I was looking for the next opportunity on it, and it came right here, and I grabbed it, and we picked up 17 ticks on that one. We ended up with a break even on the next one after that, and then we picked up 3 ticks over here to put us at plus 20. Then a whole bunch of garbage in here that you couldn't trade. Then we're stuck in here. You see I drew the triangle, and I was waiting to break out of the triangle. It broke out to the downside, but didn't give any trade setups to the downside. Then it started to go back up. I could have just drawn this out and extended the triangle and it started to go back inside. We ended up with a break even right there. I didn't draw a trend line on this. I'm not sure why, but if I draw a trend line, yeah, you could have. It depends how close I draw the trend line, but you might have had a long trade right here if you could have gotten in there, but that was not one from right there. Okay, then it didn't give anything, Then over here, we picked up 1 more tick on this big move right here. I was waiting for it to get down here and then down to here. But so I moved my stop to plus 1 tick while I waited. And it took it a while, but it eventually got down here. And it went all the way over here, stopped me out with plus 1 tick, and then went down here. So I was at plus 30 at that point. Okay. I'm sorry. No, I was, hang on. This is gold. I was mixing things up. Let's go back to the very beginning. We started out with 17, then we got 3 to get us to 20, then we got 1 to get us to 21. All right, yeah, that's what we did. Here was a 17, break even, 3 to get us to 20, then break even, then 1 to get us to 21, then stopped out to get us back to 13 right there. Okay, and then somewhere in here we had plus 2 to get us to 15 right in here. We ended up with a +2 to get us to 15. And during the break, just really choppy in here, not really anything to do. And I had drawn this line down here at the end of the morning session, and it came within a tick of that, and I didn't draw anything on the top side. But that was gold. Ended up with +15 on gold. All right, so we'll go back here to the spreadsheet. Again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 3rd day of June, 2021. We lost 16 ticks in crude, made 15 in gold and 30 on the ES. Put us at +365 on the morning session. Today it took 7 minutes in one trade to get to $170 a contract. That was that 117 tick gold trade. And we took a total of 13 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $1,835. That's over 3 trading days, averaging $611 per contract per 2-hour trading day. We've got our goal on 104 out of 105 days, and that puts us currently at $74,365 a contract. That's over 105 trading days, averaging $708 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Okay. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at cfrn.net and scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Just click on that. You'll be brought to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest training channel so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial, so make sure you click on that link, okay? Okay. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. In Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, I see you are ready.
Sir, we are ready. Recap of the recap.
Today it took, I'm sorry, let me go look at the spreadsheet. I don't remember how many minutes it took, but it took one trade to get to $170 a contract. Let me look at the spreadsheet. I'll tell you exactly how many minutes. I usually write that stuff down, but today I had to go look it up. Hang on. It took 7 minutes and one trade to get to $170 a contract.
Definitely a good job.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll dive right in. Again, today is Dr. Tom Dahey. Will be joining us shortly. So, Logic 247. So far this week, we finally got some movement on the overnight session into this morning. It'll start to reflect later in the week. Well, tomorrow's Friday, so maybe in the next week if the volatility continues. So far this week, 27 alerts issued total, 5 never triggered. Everything's all caught up at the moment. We've had 22 actionable alerts, of which 18% were stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, using market structure and a very simple 3-step process that we teach all of our traders. Now, the actual alerts, in case you're not familiar with them, they look a little something like this. When you see the Z's, that means it never triggered. We had a couple of those last night. Had a long on the Russell, long on the NQ, had a long on the S&P, had a short on the Russell, no trigger on crude oil, short on the S&P, stop out on the NQ, no trigger on the Dow, short on gold, stop out on the S&P, short on the NQ, long on the Russell, short on the Dow, long on the Dow, long on the S&P, long on silver, long on gold, long on crude, long on gold, long on silver, no trigger on crude, a stop out on the NQ. NQ is very volatile, even when it's not volatile. And a long on the S&P. That started the week, which is week 148. It's been 148 weeks since we launched Logic 247. Guess we're coming up on a 3-year anniversary. Last week, week 147, we had a total of 32 alerts, 6 never triggered, 26 actionable, only 8% stopped out last week based on that $300 risk profile. In the live training room, when Michael teaches you the methodology, the strategy, he uses a fast time frame and an 8-tick hard stop on every market, on every trade. The alerts are based on a 30-minute chart and a maximum $300 risk based on market structure and that 3-step process. Along with the logic alerts, of course, we still have our original alerts, the concierge trade alerts, or CTAs as we call them, and these are different. The logic alerts are based on current price action. They come out around the clock, 24/7. The week starts Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern when Wall Street doesn't open until Monday morning. Most traders tend to think of trading as a Monday through Friday 9:30 to 4 activity, but the Globex markets trade around the clock. They open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern and remain open until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, with the exception of 1 hour each day, Monday through Thursday, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. The Globex markets do go dark, but then 6 p.m. Eastern begins the new day. So today we're of course in the Thursday session, but tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, that will actually begin the Friday session. And so the CTAs are based on not current price action, but historic price action. And the static report is published usually right after the Globex open each evening. Last night it was 6:25 p.m. Eastern. There's 2 prices for each market, a long and a short. Once this is posted, if price starts trending up towards 42.20, that's bullish, and so our strategy will look for opportunities to buy the market. If price starts trending down towards 41.83, of course that's bearish, and our strategy will start looking for opportunities to sell the market, sell any rallies. Just put a simple line in the sand at each place and then sit back and see what price does. So if you want to grab a screenshot, go right ahead, and then we'll go to the daily chart. And I'm going to refresh it. There we go. Aha! Well, we finally came back to the daily BBC, which, as you've heard me say every day, when price fails to get through this resistance. Now we tried to get through this trend line, 1, 2, 3 times, backed off, made another run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we gave it 6 good tries. Could not get through that trend line. Now we came fairly close to the all-time historic intraday high. 42.38 is the all-time historic intraday high. 42.38. And on this day, June 1st, we made it to 42.30. And then yesterday we had a very quiet, low-range day. We opened last night and we traveled down to the daily BBC, which we expect to be good support until proven otherwise. Once the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. Now, this indicator, which I refer to, the CFMA1, I refer to it as red and falling, blue and climbing. Blue and climbing is bullish, provides support, whereas red and falling is resistance. Until this happens right here. When blue and climbing and the step line get on top of price, see how price is to the left side of blue and climbing here? That means we continue to look for higher prices until this gets above price, which it has done here. And that's where the high of the session is, at blue and climbing, which is on its way to potentially, if we close on the low of the session, when we get our next daily candle tonight, most likely we'll see blue and climbing turn to red and falling. Just like right here. And then red and falling becomes blue and climbing. So it's really a battle between the bulls and the bears here. Buyers, if they are committed, they need to take out that trend line right there, which puts them back above this trend line, which the market has been fighting now for a couple weeks. But buyers have a lot of work to do. They've got to now they have to overcome the step line. They've got to overcome blue and climbing. They've got to overcome the high of Tuesday, which puts us right at the all-time historic intraday high. Could this turn into a massive daily double top that sends the market substantially lower? That's certainly one possibility. But for now, for today, we've got support at the low of the session. We spiked the daily BBC. The BBC is at 41.73, and the low of the session is at 41.65. 41.73, 41.65. That's support below us based on the daily chart. Resistance overhead is at the high of the session, 42.13 and a quarter. On the S&P 30-minute chart, these are the current weekly zones. You can see the zones are very compressed this week. Right now we're sitting on top of a zone at 4194/4195. This is one of two things. This is a head fake to the upside, and a head fake is simply when the market appears it's going to do one thing and it actually does something else. We got a bearish cross right at the 4207/08 weekly zone, and that sent us down through the 94.95 zone, down through the 87.88 zone, all the way to the 64/65 zone, and the swing low was 65 and a quarter. So we missed touching the zone by just one tick, a quarter of a point. Buyers came in. Now we expect when price drops to a zone, we expect it to be good support until proven otherwise. And so we did find support at 41.64.65. Buyers drove us back up, drove us through the BBC, got us above this weekly zone. So the question now, will price just consolidate here? If buyers remain committed to their positions, we'll see a potential move back up to the bearish cross, which just so happened to take place right at a weekly zone, 4207/08. Whenever we have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, when price returns to that area the first time, we expect that to be good resistance. So if buyers remain committed, we still expect 4207/08 to be good resistance for two reasons. One, weekly zone. Two, this bearish cross, which leaves a narrow window of opportunity right there. Basically 4204 to 4207. 4204 to 4207. Now the CTA on the short side last night was 4183, and from 4183 the initial drop took us down to 4169. Let's call it 70 for the sake of simple math. So from 83 to 4170, that's a 13-point drop from the trigger. 13 points at $50 a point. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Price got back above the trigger and dropped again. This time it dropped us from 4183 to 4165, about 18 points, if I'm doing the math right in my head. From 83 to 63 would have been 20 points. So yeah, so 65 makes it an 18-point drop at $50 a point. That's almost $1,000 per contract traded. So 2 nice triggers on the short side, nothing on the long side. Moving to the Dow, there's that bearish cross. And we triggered the CTA at 34,457, and we dropped to 34,329. Price did get back above the trigger, but we really didn't have a second trigger here. Now it's taken us up to the long CTA at 34,640, and we spiked that just a little bit up to 55. That's 15 points, $5 a point. And now price is looking for support. Price flows on a 1-minute chart the same way it flows on a monthly chart, from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. And so if price drops back below this zone at 34,620, we'll look for support around the 34,555 weekly zone and the BBC to give us another leg to the upside. If price can continue higher, if we go back up through the CTA trigger again, then we've got a window of opportunity overhead right up here. This weekly zone is 34,700/705. Now we've been waiting for the market to give us some kind of a move, and the temptation to just dive in and start trading as everything is back to normal, the new normal. You got to be very cautious with that, because we could go right back into this sleepy sideways movement. So we want to give the market a day or two to kind of prove itself. Overhead, if buyers remain committed, 34,660 up to 34,680. That's a 20-point move, $5 a point, $100 per contract traded. And Dr. Tom's joining us a little early today, so let me just check and see if he's popped in. Not yet. Okay. Moving on to the Russell. The short CTA on the Russell, there's that bearish cross right at the zone. We dropped through the zone. We triggered on the first trigger. We dropped to 2267, and we got back above the trigger. And on the next drop, from 2279, we dropped to 2252. Russell pays $50 a point. We got back above the trigger again and again. So we have 1, 2, 3. This will be the 4th trigger for the Russell on the short side. You have to be careful here, because red and falling has become blue and climbing. And so as price drops, the step line's potential support, this weekly zone is potential support, and of course blue and climbing is potential support. If we drop below blue and climbing, then our window of opportunity is down here from roughly 2264 to 2261. 3 points, $50 a point, $150 per contract traded. We need to overcome this potential support, this potential support, this potential support. On the NQ, there's the bearish cross. We had a leg that took us all the way down through the CTA at 13,585, and the initial drop took us to 13,511. It's about a 70-point drop at $20 a point. Dr. Tom, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
How are you today?
I am too blessed to be stressed.
Amen. That's a good thing.
Yes, it is indeed. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Did you want me to send you the screens?
Yes, that would be great.
Alrighty. I'm going to do it. You are the presenter.
Oh my. This is so exciting. Becoming the presenter. The weight of the world is on my shoulders.
Is it? I feel it.
Can you see that all right?
I can see it.
All right, easy.
How do politicians get rich? Boy, they have a habit of doing that, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen anybody go to Washington about how broke they are? And even if they just serve a 2-year term, they all somehow manage to come back millionaires.
Maybe they're just clever, you know. Maybe they're just smart like that.
Or it could just be a coincidence,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, I'm sure they don't have any kind of inside information on where the next highway is going to be built, or the next shopping center, or, you know, I'm sure they don't have privy to stuff like that. And if they even did have privy to it, I mean, certainly they would not use it for their own financial benefit, would they?
No. I mean, you know about the insider trading thing with Congress, right?
Yeah, they actually told them to knock it off.
Yeah, finally. But
I mean, it's always been illegal, but finally somebody, I forget who, stepped out and said, "Come on, guys." Or wait a minute, maybe they said, "Oh man."
Oh man. No, but they had actually exempted themselves from it, from the insider trading rules. It was legal for them to be in a closed hearing that the press and the public's not allowed to. They find that information about a company and so on. And then they were going out and trading on that, and it was
I
legal.
did not know that. I did not know that it was ever actually a legal thing.
Yeah, for years. I don't know whether they passed a law or just made a rule. You know, they're really quirky up there. They can make rules that act like laws. But anyway, it actually, nobody got in trouble for it. It happened all the time. But then I think once everybody started hearing about it, and it became pretty public, that's when they had to stop doing it. So now they have to figure out some other kind of side hustle. But P.G. O'Rourke says that when government gets involved in buying and selling, the first things to be bought and sold will be politicians.
Until you get a politician who can't be bought or sold because he's already got more money than he can spend.
Like President Donald Trump.
Yeah, like that guy.
Yeah. So,
and the hatred for him just continues. I mean,
I know, it's truly amazing.
Bad as it ever was.
We are as polarized today as during the Civil War. I mean, literally half the country believes that the Harris-Biden White House is the best thing since sliced bread, and the other half of the country knows that President Trump gave us a great economy and finally held China's feet to the fire. That's why they helped in the fraud to get him out of the office, because he was really bursting their bubble. I mean, half of us know these things, and half of us believe the lies. So it's very polarized. You know, if you say I think President Trump is the greatest president ever in public, somebody's liable to throw a rock at you or shoot you. You know, that's just how bad it is. Probably not that bad, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, some of the comments, you know, first it was the kids. When he made the comment basically that said, you know, black kids are just as smart as white kids. Can you imagine if Trump said that? And then, it's like yesterday or whatever day it was, he said, you know, black entrepreneurs they really struggle because they don't have accountants and attorneys.
Oh.
Now, I mean, anybody can log into 1-800-accountants. Anybody can log into LegalZoom. There's no questionnaire as to your race or ethnicity or gender. I wonder how many little boxes are there under gender now?
47.
Questionnaires. I mean,
I think it's 47 now.
Adam and Eve must have been very confused.
Oh yeah, I mean, when they had the kids, what are these? You know.
Have you seen that video? The Dalton School is showing 6-year-olds.
Oh Lord,
They're teaching 6-year-old kids about masturbation.
Yeah.
Anyone who hasn't seen this,
6-year-old, Dwayne, the people that produced it say it's age appropriate for 4 years old and up. Now they're using it for 6-year-olds, but they actually designed it to be used for 4-year-olds, pre-K kids. I mean, I was furious, but I was even more sad, you know, when I saw that.
And to send your 6-year-old kid to this school costs $55,000 a year.
Yeah. And so you would think the parents would have some control there because they got the money control. What about when they start showing it to your kids in public schools, where you have no say whatsoever in what your kids are being taught?
Well, I don't suspect that's too far off.
No. I mean, here in Palm Beach County, there was a book called Prince and Prince, and the kids were not allowed to take it home for obvious reasons, but it's about this little prince that's going to become king because his parents died, but he couldn't become king unless he was married. So they paraded all the princesses and all the young appropriate women, you know, by him, and he didn't like any of them. And then he found this little boy prince and married him. So prince and prince. So now he could become king, right? And the last page is these two little, they look like they're about 6-7-year-old kids kissing each other on the lips. And this was showed to kindergarten and first grader kids in our county. Parents were furious.
That happened in your county?
In Palm Beach County, Florida, yes, sir. The parents were furious, and there was nothing they could do about it.
And who was the individual that signed off on this? The superintendent of schools, or?
Yep, it's a school board and the superintendent of schools. But see, they're all controlled by the teachers union. You know, quick story just to show you how powerful the teachers union is. They got behind Jimmy Carter, and we're going back in ancient history. But, you know, we talk a lot of times about how 90% of the things that the federal government does are unconstitutional. The Department of Education, totally unconstitutional. That's something the states are supposed to handle. There should be no government involvement. The teachers union gave Jimmy Carter millions of dollars, and again, surely just by coincidence, within a year, the Department of Education had been created, not just another bureaucracy, but a cabinet level position where there's a Secretary of Education. And that was because the teachers union basically ordered him to say, you do this and we'll give you millions of dollars. So that's how politicians are bought and sold. But as far as our subject today, the politicians are using the banks as their own ATMs to fund their ideological and political wishes. So that guarantees disasters after disasters after disasters, because when the government starts using tax money to influence policy, to influence people's lives, their religious beliefs, their beliefs about sexuality, their willingness to have their daughter be naked in front of a biological male, you know, had that biological male running track against females and winning every time because of his different physique. All of those things, you know, a lot of this infrastructure money, you know what it's going for?
What?
To indoctrinate people into that sort of thing. Because they say, well, human infrastructure is just as important as physical infrastructure. I mean, regular human beings know that infrastructure is roads and bridges and highways and so on. Because,
And in the modern age, I would say broadband internet.
yeah, that would be appropriate. But, you know, like we've seen bridges collapse and people get killed. Potholes in highways keep trucks from being able to get where they're supposed to go when they're supposed to. So all of those things are good for the general economy. Plus, the rebuilding of them. 30% of the bridges in this country have been deemed unsafe, in need of repair by engineers. So that's appropriate, and it produces jobs, and people, you know, companies sell products because of it. So all of that helps the economy. But training people that, you know, if you're white, you're automatically a racist, and you have to apologize. You have to stand up in front of your peers at your government office or at your business and apologize for your white privilege and apologize for your ancestors. I mean, that's what they're spending this infrastructure money on, indoctrinating children that homosexuality is just as valid as heterosexuality. That's what they call human infrastructure. And so only about a quarter of the infrastructure bill is going to have to be spent on infrastructure.
Only a quarter?
On real infrastructure. That's the numbers I'm seeing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hard to fathom.
Bad. So what they're doing with our money is redistributing the wealth. That's what Obama promised. And they're using policy, economic policy, to target our savings and retirement accounts. Because that's where most of the private wealth is. But also, they want to punish thrift. Okay, you know, that's an old-fashioned word, thrift. But it means savings and being thrifty about what you spend. Not going out and buying a brand new car, for instance, even if you can afford it. I mean, I can afford to buy a brand new. I would never be that dumb, because I can buy a car a year old with 15,000 miles on it and save 30%. Why in the world would I buy a brand new car? That's being thrifty, right?
Right.
But here we're talking about thrift in the sense of savings, and so by taking away the incentive and actually punishing people for thrift, then instead of people saving, it's going to transfer that wealth into the hands of the big government spenders to redistribute. Now, if what they say was what they did, it would be different. It'd still be bad. But, you know, socialism is everybody's equal, you know, spreading the wealth around. But that's not what they do. They redistribute your wealth to the wealthiest people in the country, who are like the party leaders. Okay. Nancy Pelosi has a refrigerator that cost $15,000, and she bragged about it and showed it on TV. I mean, I built houses for people for $15,000, not recently, but a long time ago. She, you know, has, you know, the government has to give her a private jet, a U.S. Air Force jet that's dedicated to her purpose, like US 1. It's there for her use only. So the rich get rich, the poor get poor, when to use policy to affect the economy. I was teaching my biblical economics class at the seminary the other night, and I asked them some questions. I said, what do Richard Nixon and Adolf Hitler have in common? And they all looked at me like, what? What could they possibly have in common? I said, they both believed in price controls. Hitler said, we don't need gold. All we have to do is set the prices. And if anybody charges more than the price, we send them to a concentration camp. That he actually said that. That's not somebody's interpretation. I've got the exact quote somewhere, but that's the gist of it.
Right.
Well, Richard Nixon did the same thing, except he didn't send you to a concentration camp. You would get fined. But he capped wages and he capped prices, and it never, ever works. Here in Palm Beach County, we have a real poor town to the west of us called Belglade, and it's mostly, cane workers. They get paid practically nothing. But it's also some of the wealthiest people in the country live in Belglade. Why? Because of sugar. They call it big sugar. Mm-hmm. And they control a lot of politicians, both state and national. As a result, the price of sugar in the United States is about 12 to 15 times what the price is in the rest of the world. And we can't import the cheaper sugar. We have to use the government price subsidized sugar. So as a result, we have more diabetics per capita than any other country because everything you eat is loaded with sugar because it's cheap. Ketchup, barbecue sauce, 50% sugar.
Yeah, even dog food.
Oh yeah, and dogs are now becoming diabetics. Cereal, the sweet cereals, you put your milk in it and walk away for half an hour, and they're all soggy, and it's because the sugar's been leached out of them. You drink that milk, and it's like drinking a milkshake. That's how much sugar, and they're putting in everything, any manufactured food that you get. The government has millions of bushels of wheat stored away because they bought it from farmers for their purposes, to keep the prices where they wanted to be. And yet we have Americans starving and people all over the world starving. There was a time when the government ordered milk producers because the milk prices were not high enough. They poured millions of gallons of milk into rivers and creeks, even though there were starving kids in this country, this is about 40 years ago, that needed milk. So when the government gets involved in the economy, it never ends well. Society that's ever survived, and we are, if we're not already there, we're within a nickel of being a Soviet-style socialist economy where the government controls everything. So, as a result of our, I always say this, look, I'm not anti-government, I'm anti-stupid government, I'm a patriot, but I hate what they're doing to our country. Because of the government, not because of the people. We do elect the people to go to the government, but we don't know who we're electing in most cases. So we're facing a stock market crash, which I believe is not going to be a correction. It's going to be a real crash, 50, 60%. We're facing an economic collapse. The economy is far worse off than what they say. Everybody should go to shadowstats.com. Shadow, and then the first few letters of statistics, stats.com. Or other places like it where independent economists are able to tell the truth. because government economists are not allowed to say anything except what they're told to say. And almost all economists at universities survive off of government grants, so they're not going to tell you the truth. But for instance, anybody who believes that unemployment is 6.1%, that's crazy. I mean, just common sense would tell you, if you look around at all the closed businesses in this country, unemployment is probably around 20%. So our economy is not in great shape. A debt collapse, yeah, I mean, 18% of all our national revenues for years have been dedicated to interest only on the national debt. So the last time we paid a penny on principal was 100 years ago. And either of these two things could cause a complete collapse of the debt. An increase in interest rates, well, at some point, they're almost zero. At some point, they have to go up, and that could cause a debt collapse. But more likely what will cause it is this extra $6 trillion they're adding to the national debt. And we won't be able to pay the interest because the debt will be that much greater. And everything above that 18% is locked in. I mean, you can't touch Social Security, or the politicians will never be reelected. So they're not going to touch it. That's like inviolate. There's so much money that has to go to the military. There's a lot of entitlement programs that are set that can't be changed. So, you know, we can see the nation default on its debt. Now, Dwayne, do you believe the United States is bankrupt?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But we haven't declared bankruptcy.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Our
So-
credit rating has been dinged by Standard & Poor's, but
Well, actually, in 2011, we were the only country, or 2011 and before, the only country that had ever had a AAA credit rating from all three of the major credit ratings. Standard & Poor's is just one of them. There's Moody's and Fitch, and they're all equally important. All three of them downgraded us from AAA to AA. Now, over the years, two of them have taken us back to AAA, but we are not the highest rated as we once were, because there's only 2 out of the 3. However, there are 12 countries in the world that have AAA credit ratings from all 3 agencies, and we're not one of them. So that, and the fact that our debt is greater than any nation has ever had in the world, we're going to default. I mean, technically, not technically, in reality, you're bankrupt when you owe more than you own. So whether it's an individual or a business or a nation, that's true. It doesn't mean you've declared bankruptcy. It just means that you are bankrupt. Bankrupt means that. Well, we owe trillions. We owe billions more than we own. So we're bankrupt. But a country can't declare bankruptcy. The way that happens is when you say, I can't pay the debt anymore. Not the principal. I can't even pay the interest. So that's the way a country declares bankruptcy. That's what happened to Greece. They were just going to default on their debt, and the European Union didn't want that to happen. So they went in and strong-armed everybody that had Greek debt and said, take a 50% haircut. So if you're owed 100 billion drachmas or whatever they have over there, then you reduce it down to 50 instead of 100. Well, then Greece was able to say, I didn't default. Okay, I didn't go bankrupt, because if they did, they would have had to expel them from the European Union, and they didn't want that to happen. So there's all kinds of games that governments play. But here's the bottom line of all this. When the debt collapse happens, like in every other modern nation, that's experienced a hyperinflation, that triggers a currency collapse, or what we call a hyperinflationary event. So it's going to happen, and the dollar is going to become worthless, which is why I'm such a, they call us gold bugs, you know. I think of myself as a bug, but I'm definitely a proponent of gold. So
Yeah, gold saw a pretty substantial drop today for some reason.
Well, actually, I was talking to my bullion dealer and looking at, you know, buying some more gold the other day, and we thought about it, and we both agreed that a pullback was going to come. So I waited because I wanted to buy a lot more gold, and we agreed that I should hold on and see how things go. And we were both right. I mean, it's just the way gold works.
Sure.
I mean, well, stocks too.
Oh, yeah.
Take a big run, you get a pullback.
That's
So
right.
now I'm going to go in as soon as we get off this program and buy the gold I was going to buy the other day, and I'll save probably 50 grand. So
Nice.
the question is, will you be prepared? Are you a people, or are you a sheeple? You know, are you going to be one of the millions of sheep who wait for the government to come to your rescue? Because it's not. Remember before Obama was elected, that little tiny video clip that just went viral. It was a rally for Obama, and she was saying, "I ain't worried about anything. Obama's Obama's going to fix it." They even made a song out of it. I don't have to worry about paying my mortgage. Obama's going to pay my mortgage.
And
you
don't
know,
put gas in her car, I believe, was part of it too.
yeah, and people actually believe that, but it's not happening. The government will not come to your rescue. Less than 2% of the people in this country a year and a half ago owned physical gold. Now people are finally getting smart, and it's 20%. And most of that money is coming from big investors pulling the money out of the stock market and buying gold. It's mostly the little guys who are still buying gold. And whenever the general population is bullish, everybody else should be bearish, because most people are not that smart. Most people don't know how to beat the market. I'm not talking about your students, because they get training. People that learn and study, that's one thing. But all these people taking their stimulus checks and putting that in the stock market, that's just foolhardy, you know. So all the stimulus is propping up the market, but it's not going to be forever. So be one of the 20%, not one of the 80%, because your paper money will be worth nothing. So, do you want to be a people or a sheeple? That's the question. And I don't think most people want to be a sheep. You know, you want to plan and prepare ahead. The Bible talks a lot about that. Matter of fact, on my YouTube channel, it's just youtube.com/drtomtv, no period. There's a video there called The Ultimate Preparedness. And of course, we know the ultimate preparedness is trusting in the Lord, because he said, "I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread." But he expects us to do our part, right? That's why you go to work every day. That's why you trade. That's why you do whatever you need to do to make money. And you don't just sit back in the house and say, "Lord bless me," you know, send a check to my mailbox every week. But no matter how well you're prepared, I mean, I know people that have warehouses or 3-car garages or outbuildings stored floor to ceiling with survival food, you know, freeze-dried this and, you know, whatever, buckets of of grain and seeds and all that. So let's say you got enough to last you 4 years. Great. But what if it lasts for 5 years or 6 years? At some point, you have to trust in the Lord. So, be prepared. I think that's smart. But my idea of preparation is not filling up a warehouse full of survival food. My idea of preparation is having gold and silver so that I can buy anything I need, whatever kind of food's available. There'll be people who have no money whatsoever. Hard to imagine, but there'll be people that have nothing spendable. So they'll have to grow vegetables or raise pigs or whatever, and they'll have to barter, and they'll be happy as a pig in slop if you come and offer them gold, because that's what everybody wants. Silver too, but don't go heavy on silver, guys. In a time like that, there's going to be gangs of guys with guns running around trying to get your stuff. So it's real easy to hide gold. You can have a small safe, very well hidden, and no problem. But silver is 70 times heavier and 70 times bulkier than gold for the same money. And some people say, well, but silver's cheaper. Silver's not cheaper. I mean, yeah, it's $27 an ounce, and gold is $18.27. But which is cheaper, a $100 bill or 100 singles? So silver's not cheaper; it's just cheaper units. The problem is, how do you keep them safe? It's hard to hide a whole lot of silver. And what if things get really bad where you are, and you need to pack up the essentials and head to the mountains, Well, with gold, you can put your net worth in your pockets. You can't do that with silver. Just too heavy. So if you go to cfrngold.com, a lot of you have. I've seen your names come across, and you're referred by Dwayne. Then I will send you some real important information. We've actually added to the Gold Education Starter Package now. So if you've already gotten it, you'd like to get the new materials, let me know. But go there, fill out the form. We don't spam people. We will send you an invitation to the webinar once a week. And if you want to be taken off that list, we'll take you off, but you'll still get the Gold Education Starter Package. But what I would do is keep getting the webinar announcements. Even if you can't come on Monday nights, they're posted the next day on Christian Financial Concepts anyway. So you can, you'll know which ones to look for. If you get the emails, you know, okay, that's what I definitely want to see. But I've literally had guys, and more than one, that have master's degrees, like MBAs and masters in finance and investments and so on, tell me they've learned more in our Monday night webinars in a year, just 1 hour a week for a year, than they did in all the years in graduate school. Because in college, particularly the business department, that's not a good place to learn business. Because if a guy's really good at business, he's off doing business and making money, making 10 times as much as a professor does. So your professors at a business school are typically going to be the guys who got a degree and went out and tried to make it in business and failed. So they come back to the safety of academia and they train other people to go out and fail because they teach them what they did, right? So my favorite business professors were the guys that taught at night. They could care less about the $35 an hour they got paid to teach. They taught because they wanted to teach. But these were guys in the trenches who were actually doing the work. And those are the people I want to learn from. And those are the kind of people we have on the webinars. Not people that have a lot of good theories, but people who have a lot of good experience, and their knowledge is based on being successful. So,
CFRNgold.com. That's simple.
That's the place. So simple. I mean, even Dwayne can do it.
I did it.
So, there we go.
Lee says, the CFRN Gold site form doesn't seem to be working. Error. Please enter a valid name, email address, phone number, and zip code.
Well, that's kind of what it's supposed to do.
Just, why don't you give him his phone number and you can just call, he can call you.
Yeah, my number is 561-753-5998. 561-753-5998. Just ask for me and I'll send it to you. You don't have to fill the form out if you don't want to, but yeah, I'm happy to do that. And by the way, I'm the kind of guy, I like to be accessible to people. And for years, whenever people called up, I would take their calls. And if I was on a phone call, I'd call them back. But I'm on 3 different radio programs now, and I have dozens of people calling every day. So we've had to go to a scheduling system. So you call in. If I'm available, I will take your call right then and there. But most likely, they've got me scheduled. So just tell them when you'd like to talk to me. They'll find a slot. They'll put you in it, and then you call my office. I won't call you. You call me, and we'll take the time and answer all your questions and so on. Okay.
And your number again is 561-753-5998.
That's the one.
That's the one. Okay. I'll take a look at that web page and
They're
see what
working on our
the
phone
problem is.
system. They're working on our phone system today. So if you have any trouble getting through, just call back tomorrow. We're redoing our entire phone system. But everything seems to be working fine, and I don't anticipate any problems. I'm just saying,
I just went there, I just input my information, and it took me to the page that says thank you for contacting Golden Art Treasures, and then it took me to the Golden. So in my browser, in the Chrome browser, I did it, and it worked. So
well,
I'll look into it and try to figure out why Lee had a problem.
I think the problem was that he said it, it said you have to enter this information. It's set up to where you have to enter the information in order to go into the site. That's why that happened.
Okay.
That's the way we know that it's somebody that Dwayne referred to us, because we like to know that so we can say thanks to Dwayne.
Well, thank you, Dr. Tom.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless everybody. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
I look forward to seeing you next Thursday.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, here we are. Back at the NQ. 13,585 was the CTA trigger on the short side. Nice leg to the downside. Buyers came in, drove us back up, put us above the trigger. We spiked above the BBC, caught another leg to the downside, and now price is sitting just below the trigger. We hit the BBC, which we expect to be good resistance until proven otherwise. Blue and climbing, we expect that to be good support until proven otherwise. And so, the area I'll be interested in will be this area down here. If sellers remain committed and buyers become less committed, once we take out that swing low, then about 13,513 down to 13,493. 20-point potential move at $20 a point. So the CTA never triggered on the long side, just on the short side. And so it's got to sort itself out here. So let's go back to the CTA. The next one on my list is crude oil. Okay, so we triggered on the long side early last night. We took out this little double top we had going on. We highlighted this area yesterday as an important area that the market needed to get through, and it did. So from 69.05 we made it up to 69.39, so $340 per contract trade. And then we get back below the trigger, but here, this is what we want to see for a long. We want to see blue and climbing. But as we dip back below the trigger here, price runs into red and falling, which is bearish. And so that's like getting in your car in the garage, and instead of putting it in reverse, putting it in drive and just slamming right into that wall in front of you. So not all triggers created equal. And then over here, again, CTAs are just like weekly trading zones, but it's a daily trading zone, better way of putting it. And so from 69.05 we popped up to, to 69.12, like a $70 move. Price is just consolidating at this area. Okay, you don't really have the support of blue and climbing. Like to see a bullish cross, which we didn't get. Get a bearish cross, a retracement, leg to the downside. We did trigger on the downside. 68.40 took us down to 68.20. $200 per contract traded. Buyers came in. It took us right back to the BBC, where we expect to find good resistance until proven otherwise. If sellers take price back down into this area, and there's a nice window of opportunity from basically 68.45 down to 68.25. A couple $100 per contract traded. On gold, never triggered the long CTA. We certainly triggered the short CTA and then some. $19.05 was the trigger. The trade to target, of course, is the weekly trading zone below. So 6 points, $600 per contract traded. We had a leg, we had a retracement, didn't quite make it back up to the BBC. The weekly zone held as resistance. That sent us down to the zone at 1890/91. Price traded through it. Basically a slice, one of the three things that happens at a weekly zone. And that took us down, not to the lowest weekly zone. The lowest weekly zone this week is at 1839/40. So we had a leg. Price is just consolidating sideways. Now, buyers are pushing us up to the zone. They push us through the zone. And we expect to find resistance here. And of course, our strategy would be to sell that rally right back down to the weekly zone. And silver. Big day for silver. 28.10 was the trigger on the short side, and we traded down to 27.09. At 27.10, that would be a $1 move. 28.10, 27.10. So $1 move. It's $5,000 per contract traded. Again, the weekly trading zones are so narrow this week, it really makes navigating difficult. So this is going to be a very challenging week. Hopefully what we saw with volatility today will continue to grow and expand back to the new normal. Buyers are driving silver right now. We've got the BBC right at the weekly trading zone, so we expect that area to be good resistance for two reasons, and we'll look for another leg to the downside. Should buyers be so committed that they're able to overcome resistance times 2, then the bullish window of opportunity would be back up to the zone at 27.88. Otherwise, it's going to be on the downside. It's all about what happens here. Now, well, could I just buy silver here and get out here? You could. That's a counter trend trade. The 7,000 plus alerts in the Logic 247 alert channel are all based on the current prevailing trend as defined by a 30-minute chart and the BBC. We only look to sell below the BBC. We only look to buy above it. So there's nothing wrong, illegal, immoral, or fattening about a counter trend trade. My experience is that they just don't have the same high degree of probability as a trend trade. So we dropped through 1, 2, 3, 4 zones. Finally found support here at 27.26/27. The buyers, they can take us here. We'll know we got resistance because we'll start printing red candles. Green up, red down, and we'll have an opportunity to go short back to the zone below. So I'll be watching the charts throughout the afternoon, and as I see these valid windows of opportunity present themselves, I'll put them in the channel. Yesterday, our good word for the day had to do about fulfilling your destiny. We talked about Michelangelo's masterpiece, David. We've all seen it. If not in real life, we've seen it in pictures. Today, we'll talk about something different. Today we'll talk about the splat. The splat? Hebrews 12:1. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. The entire verse, Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. The story is told of a traveler who met a leadership expert along the road and asked him, "Where's the road to success?" The expert didn't speak, but instead pointed to a place off in the far distance. The man, thrilled at the prospect of quick and easy success, rushed off in the direction indicated. Splat. There's the splat. Down he went. He limped back, bruised and stunned. Assuming he must have misinterpreted the message, he repeated his question, and again the expert pointed silently in the same direction. So the traveler took off once more. This time the splat was deafening. Crawling back, bloodied, broken, and angry, he shouted at the expert, "I asked you which way is success. I followed the direction you indicated, and all I got was splatter. No more pointing. Talk to me." Finally, the expert opened his mouth and spoke. Success is that way. It's just a little beyond the splat. Fact is, all of us who have experienced the splat, there's no way to avoid it. But it's what we do after the splat that makes all the difference. And perseverance always wins. The Bible says, "Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." Champion racer Rick Mears is attributed with saying, "To finish first, you must first finish." So if you've fallen, get up and keep going. American educator Hamilton Holt said, "Nothing worthwhile comes easily. Half effort does not produce half results. It produces no results." Work, continuous work, and hard work is the only way to accomplish results that last. And that's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.